Straight Facts, and we back. And I got a good guest today. We got Shanny, or PopChanny.
Thank you
Is
for
that how it
putting the POP, yes. Because it is POP originally. Hold it down.
Uh-oh. I ain't see that video in a long time. But, yeah, we got entrepreneur, creator, I want to say black activist. Black activist?
I mean, I guess you could put that in there.
Phenomenal woman, Shanny, PopChanny. How you doing today, girl?
I'm doing amazing. How are you? Thanks for having me.
No problem. I had to get you on. You one of the most influential people in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
you know what I'm
thank
saying?
you. I appreciate that.
Hold it down for the black culture.
I love being here. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Glad to have you here. So, before we get into all your endeavors and your businesses you got going on, for the people who don't know you, can you talk about your upbringing, where you from, and who you are?
I could. So again, I am PopChanny, but my real name is Chantel. I am from the South Side, so I'm from Belsuver.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, big soup. I'm a sibling of 13, so my upbringing was very busy, very crowded, but also with a lot of love.
Yeah.
I went to Belsuver Elementary, then I went to Carmel. If you're watching this, you went to Belsuver, Carmel.
You went to Carmel?
I went to Carmel.
All years?
I went to PCA. No, I went to Carmel in 7th and 8th grade. And I went to Pittsburgh Classical Academy in 6th grade.
The old Greenway?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, Greenway was in there when we was there. It was half PCA, half Greenway. It was like Greenway kids and PCA kids.
You know, it's funny you said you went to Carmel. So I went to Homewood Montessori, right? We used to play Carmel when I was in middle school and in basketball and stuff.
Yes,
we used to kill y'all all the time. That's funny.
I don't remember because that was a long time ago, and I really wasn't that great.
I remember.
But yeah, no, I remember that. So then after Carmel, I went to Brashear. I graduated from Brashear, and I went to Clarion.
I went to Clarion too.
CU.
That's actually where we met. We met at Clarion. CU.
Yeah.
The Golden Eagles.
The Golden Eagles. You got to add Golden.
Yeah. You went to Clarion. You know what I'm saying? Graduated. You was a comm major, right?
I was.
Yeah.
I was real bad.
Yeah.
Shout out to the kids in Becker.
Oh yeah.
Because we lived there. We definitely
Facts.
did live there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, ultimately, what made you want to become a comm major and get into the communication field?
So I originally wanted to go to school. I used to say I want to go to school for writing, even though writing isn't really a major.
Or journalism.
But I'm saying I was calling it writing. I wasn't calling it journalism. So whenever I went on my tour, I learned the proper major was called journalism, which was a part of the mass comm. Whenever I first got there, it was mass media, arts, journalism, and communications.
Right.
It was a long name. By the time I left, it wasn't MMAJC. It was like,
oh yeah, I forgot about
that. It wasn't all those letters. It wasn't all those extra letters. So when I went for my for my tour, and I got to see the whole Becker, the whole everything, I was like, I want to do all of this. I want to write. I want to do the newspaper. I want to do the radio. I want to do production. So I decided, against my better judgment, to go visit other schools. I decided on Clarion.
Now, what made you decide Clarion? Because everybody always say, why Clarion?
To be completely honest, it was comfortable. It was, I knew people there already.
But there was a point where you started working for the Shade Room, right? So how was that experience working for them?
It was great.
It was?
That was great. That was one of my favorite jobs ever. So I started in 2015. Shout out to Talia, because we came on as the first interns together. Well, about around the same time. It was maybe a week in between each other, but we both came in as the same cohort of interns. But it was my dream job. I wanted to be a journalist. When I was in Clarion, I was like, I'm going to work for Vibe, or I'm going to work for the biggest black media outlet in America. So when they called me, I was like, whoa, here we go. Biggest black media in America.
Yeah.
Granted, at that time, they only had a few thousand followers on Instagram. We weren't, because it was the beginning. You know what I mean? It was right after I was on Division Elite. I was on Division Elite, I think, 2012. The Shade Room started in 2013.
Yeah, that's right.
They really got popping around to 2014-ish. 2015 is when I started, but they were at a few 100,000 followers. We got deleted. We had to start.
Man.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was such a fun ride though. It was everything I worked for. Everything I ever wanted, in real life, from interviewing to exclusives to talking to celebrities. Let me tell you, I'm a Romeo fan. Romeo was my first bae. My very last Christmas
You wasn't
there.
a Bow Wow fan?
I was a Romeo fan.
To
the heart, to the die, to the casket, to this day. My password is Romeo's number. But
I don't even remember one song by Romeo, to be honest. It was the
That My Baby.
Yeah, that's the only one I know.
That was the single.
Outside
Had
of
all
that,
the albums.
Outside
all
of
the
that,
posters.
I know the diss he had to Bow Wow, the little "You Can't Shine Like Me." That's about it.
Oh yeah, I remember that era. But no, my very last Christmas there, Romeo had DM'd the page like, "Good morning, Queens." I
For
said
real?
I could quit. I don't need nothing else. I talk to my man. Yeah, but yeah, no, it was the best. It was a great learning experience. I met a lot of great people. I made a lot of great friends. Traveled a lot.
Great.
It was amazing.
So, what would you say was like some key things you learned from working at Shade Room that you took with you when you left?
I don't know.
What would you say were some maybe like do's and don'ts that you learned, say, working in that kind of industry?
So I would say I learned this in undergrad, but I really learned it in industry, especially being a journalist and having to work fast. Spell check.
Oh, yeah.
Spell check. Man, they will come for you. Spell check. One of my first articles that went out, I wasn't on the page yet. I was just a writer, so I had to send it in to be posted. Mm-hmm. Spell check. Carucci. My very first article, spell check, messed up Carucci's name. But it wasn't me. I don't, it might have been me. I don't know, but spell check. Triple checking your sources, like, for facts. Like, my thing is now, even if it's just a regular thing, even if it's not for an article, it's like I have to check my sources. I have to check at least 3 credible sources, or it's not. It's not it.
That's key, especially in today's world, man.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what made you like resign from the Shade Room?
So I resigned in 2019. That made me there for 4 years. It was a plethora of reasons. It wasn't anything bad per se. When I started in 2015, I was on Division Elite, which I had started in 2012.
Not a question.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long. What exactly was Division Elite?
Man, that was my baby. Division Elite was... Okay, so my mission was to bridge the gap between entertainment and community service. Mm-hmm. So I had the blog part of it where I did blogs. I had all these segments. I had my radio show. I had, my opinion pieces, but I had world news. I said it was a platter of different things. On the blog, I wanted to be able to do world news because, we had to take hard news classes at Clarion. So I was like, well, if I'm going to be vlogging, I might as well still talk about what's going on in the world. But then also it was a lot of entertainment. So it was like a mix of entertainment news. But I also like to highlight new artists. So I had the freshman class tab where I would, interview people who was up and coming, all of the things. But then I did a lot of events. So that's where the entertainment meets community service because any event that I did, it was always that gap. So, for example, for my birthday, I always wanted to do a purpose and a party. So it was like, if you come to the purpose, you come to the party for free. So I always did, my inspiration was hashtag lunch bag. I don't know if you know that program. It's where they assemble lunch bags for the homeless and they take them out and they give them out. So every year for my birthday, I called it hashtag feed 412. So we would feed.
You were just a marathon woman. You was running shit.
I was running. And so, a lot of my events, it would be like, you come, you have fun, but also there's a community service or a Black activist part to it. Something where we were feeding the people who were coming more than just give us your money and have a good time. And then my events were super cheap. Like, I did an event called 5 for the Vibe. It was $5. You came, you got poetry, we had a discussion, you had free unlimited wine, we had grapes, cheese, crackers.
I had it all.
It was a time. It was a vibe. So it was that. Like, I had my YouTube channel. I was interviewing everybody. We had drama on there. Yeah, it's still on there too. If you look, check it out. Division Elite. So that's what I was on with Division Elite. That was it in a nutshell. Interviews, blog, events. So when I got to the Shade Room, the very first message from our brand manager at the time was like, "Hey, you trying to expand your brand?" Yeah. And I was like, "Yeah." I knew him a little bit. Like, we had met networking. I was wanting to rebrand Division Elite. And my brother, like I said, he was in Atlanta. And so I texted him and I was like, "Hey, you're in Atlanta with celebrities. I'm trying to rebrand Division Elite. Like, throw me some celebrities." He was like, "Well, I don't know no celebrities," but he was like, "This guy I had math class with since freshman year works for Sony." I was like, "Plug me in." That happened to be Brian Young. Shout out to B. And so me and him, we had been in contact, but we kept missing each other. I was busy, he was busy. I was busy, he was busy. So we lost contact for a little bit. He ended up DMing me on Twitter, like, "Hey, you want to expand your platform?" I'm like, "Division Elite?" Like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. So if you check my first few articles at the Shade Room on the website, it'll say like TSR intern Chantel, and then it'll say at PopChanny, then it'll be like at Division Elite. Yeah, because it was like, we was like building my brand. I was building my brand. I want to say I kept doing Division Elite for a year after that, but it was too hard. Like, it was too hard to do my articles and do their articles.
So is Division Elite still like, is that still like a thing, I guess?
So yes, but no.
Or do you like rebrand it or anything?
Division Elite has been disseminated into all my other brands.
Oh yeah.
I feel like at the time in 2012, Division Elite was too big of a thing to digest as it was.
Yeah.
And so over the years, I've been able to break it up into smaller pieces and put it out. And everything smaller that I put it out as took off. Black Art Expo, for example.
Yeah.
Took off. And nobody even knew that was me. When I started Black Art Expo, I didn't tell nobody it was me.
We gonna get to that.
I was like, I want to see if I could do it. I want to see if I could grow the page and not off of popularity.
I got some questions about that.
Let's get into it.
So ultimately, I don't think you answered it. Why'd you leave?
I left. Okay, so I left. I wanted to. One, I felt like I was giving up all of my creative endeavors to. No shade like that, because now I understand now that I have interns. But I didn't want to give up all my creative endeavors to help somebody else become a millionaire. You know what I mean? It's like I could become a millionaire too. It's not like I can't do any of this. I just happen to, this is what I'm doing right now. And so I wanted to be able to give my focus and my creative focus to my creative brands. Because like I said, 2012, before there was a Shade Room, there was a Division Elite. And so I felt like I wasn't being true to my craft by not tapping back into it. And I don't think that I would have been able to do both. Like I said, when I was at Division Elite, I was on entertainment news. The Shade Room was entertainment news. So if I did an article for myself and have to rewrite the same article, I was exhausting myself. You know what I mean? I couldn't just copy and paste the article with two separate outlets. Now it's conflict of interest. So I wanted to get back to my thing. You know, I wanted to be my own creative director. I wanted to, you know what I mean? I wanted to be like, and not like a control thing, but you know, it was like, if this was my business, this is what I would be doing. If this was my business, this is what I would be doing. And I'm a boss, you know what I mean? I've been able to be an intern and be a staff and be an editor, but at the end of the day, to the core, you know, I like being a boss too. Like I like being like, you know, this is what we're doing. So, you know. It's all love. Now, like I said, it's all love. Now,
since you said you like being a boss, you are a boss. Let's talk about the Black Art Expo. So for the people who don't know, what is that and how it got started?
So the Black Art Expo is a platform for Black artists and lovers of Black art. We do programming, digital programming, physical programming. And like I said, I really like to give platform to artists. I'm an artist. I've been an artist since I could pick up and use my hands. My dad's an artist. My mom's an artist. And so naturally, you know, I'm a child of artists. And so the biggest inspiration was when I was at the Shade Room. I started a segment called On Wednesdays We Paint. Shout out to Wavy Wednesday because she inspired that segment. I had no idea what I was going to do for content that day. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I know that we keep giving tea and tea and tea and more tea and more tea and more gossip and more gossip. And I feel like let's change it up a little bit on the timeline. And so I was like, okay, you know, I'm AKA on Wednesdays we wear pink. It was a Wednesday. I was like, okay, it's Wednesday. Wednesdays we wear pink. I was like, but no, that's dumb. Who wants to read on Wednesdays we wear pink? And I was like, on Wednesdays we paint. I could do an art segment. So it was Wednesday, which makes sense because Kamara, her name is Wavy Wednesday. So the whole first segment was all her work, was all Wednesday's work. And everybody liked it. They was like, oh, we want it again. So every Wednesday was on Wednesdays we paint. I found all these different artists. I was like, all right, we're going to find artists from Philly. We're going to find artists from Jersey, from LA, all of the places. And then when it was my time to depart, I was like, I don't want to stop giving artists platforms because artists need platforms. You know, artists didn't really they had platform, but they wasn't on the Shade Room. You know what I mean? Like they wasn't like, oh, we're going to do this artist segment or we're going to do this artist brand deal. So I was like, well, if I'm an artist and I feel like I be needing exposure, I could imagine the other artists need exposure. Yeah. So whenever I left, I didn't want to I put down writing. I really didn't write for a very long time. I got a book coming out, so I have been writing lately, but I didn't do like blogging in a very long time. So I started Black Art Expo. And I was like, I want to do an actual...
Now, what year did you start Black Art Expo?
2018.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said, I want to do an actual Black Art Expo. You know, I've seen bridal expos and this expo and that expo. I want to do a Black Art Expo where people come and celebrate Black artists. Mind you, this was 2018. So I started the page. Me and my sister was on a Greyhound bus going to Cleveland. And I was like, I'm about to start this art page to do this expo. And I was like, when I get to 500 followers, I'm going to start promoting the expo. We got to 1,000 followers in 3 days. It was up. And I was like, oh, this is moving faster than I expected it to move. So I was like, all right.
PopChanny. Come on now.
But I didn't tell nobody it was me. It wasn't like nobody knew it was me. I I'm a social media man. You know, I'm a social media guru.
Art's everywhere too. So yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. I was just using hashtags. I was doing all of my things that I teach my clients how to do in social media growth, organic growth.
Teach me the game, Shannon.
Got you, call me Ghost. But no, like, you know, so I like I said, it was at 1,000 in a few days, and it kept growing, and I was like, okay, so this grew quicker than I had time to plan an expo.
Yeah.
So for right now, we could just keep growing the page until it's time to do the expo. So that by that time, you know, promotion is easy because everyone already follows the page. Man, we got to 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers. When I got to 100,000 followers, I was like, I need interns. So we got interns. We had our first round of interns. I had interns with Division Elite. Shout out to Tracia. But I had interns with Division Elite, but it was different. It was a different pace because Division Elite was a few hundred followers. Black Art Expo, we had thousands of followers, and we had DMs coming in. We had a high demand to keep up with.
You know, it's so funny because I seen it, and I was doing my research and everything. I have been seeing Black Art Expo for so long, and I didn't really know who ran it. And somebody told me, "Oh, Shannon run." I'm like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, this is like popping for real." I'm like, "Damn!" And I just said it wouldn't be because I would expect that to be, but I was like, "Man," I'm like, I like this, and I like where it was going and everything. Everybody loves art whether they realize it or not. So I was like, oh man, and it's just good for the city, just good for just Black culture, just period. So I was like, man. So where do you like see this going, and do you like where it's going right now?
The Black Art Expo?
Yeah,
I love it. So currently, one of my interns that I came through, she stayed. She is now my staff.
Yeah.
So she and I are working to keep it upgraded. I have been working solely, like I said, when I left the shade room, I've been a full-time entrepreneur. I had 2 jobs since then. I worked at Aaliyah Ray's nail salon, and I work for NYDC doing teaching entrepreneurship club and media club.
So you your own boss for real?
No, like in real life, from 2019 to 20 now. From 2019 to 20 now. Yeah, so I've been doing everything out of pocket. I didn't get a PPP loan. I was like, this is for sure a scam, America. I be sitting here, so whoa, I ain't get that loan.
Yeah,
I'm like,
funny.
man, niggas are still free.
Sweet.
But yeah, so no, I like where it's going. Like, I like that I have a team now. I like that we have kind of figured out our programming and how we want it to go. Like I said in the beginning, we had a high demand, and we didn't even get the chance to do the expo. Mind you, there's another person in Atlanta who does a Black Art Expo, 2 separate brands. We're not the same brand. We're not affiliated. But now that has been done, I'm on to the next phase. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't have to do that now. That's been done. Thank you. Appreciate it. So we have a lot of great things that are in the works that I always felt like before. Like after the expo, we could expand to here. The expo has been done. And honestly, like that was very 2018 of me. 2019, maybe 2020 at the latest. I no longer have a desire to do an actual traditional expo, but the things that we do have planned, y'all should be afraid.
Are you able to talk about some of the things you got planned or nah?
No, not exactly yet. I've been learning. Not exactly yet because they're still in the works, and you know, paperwork is still getting straightened out and all of the things, but they are really great. They are very exciting. As you know, this is like my last week here in Pittsburgh again. I'm going back to the South.
So you mean like you're moving to South?
Yeah, this is like my 5th time moving out of Pittsburgh.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, in real life. I've lived in Detroit. I've lived in Arizona. I've lived off the grid in Arizona in a tent.
For real?
Yeah, in real life, like in the desert, in the middle of nowhere. I've lived in Philly. I've lived in Atlanta. This will be my 3rd time moving to Atlanta. I'm missing a few places, but yeah, I've lived in DC. Lived in Maryland. Yeah.
So as far as like, you know, Black art and just being an entrepreneur and just, I feel like uplifting just other potential and inspiring entrepreneurs, whether it's in all the cities you lived in, but in particularly in Pittsburgh, how do you feel about the state of Black culture in Pittsburgh and where it's going?
I think that it's progressive.
Yeah.
I think that it is progressive. I think that with any place that's majority white, you know, it just kind of takes time. It takes time and people and experiences. It takes people to leave and come back. People are like, why everybody leave Pittsburgh? It's like, we got to come bring the stuff back. You know, we stay here with the same stuff. The same stuff. No new ideas.
And everybody say that like we're like so far behind and slow on everything else too. So.
But you know what I think that is? I've been actually exploring that. I think that's just geographically where we are. You know what I mean? It's like Philly's popping because why? Like, okay, we in Pennsylvania. So it's like, you in Pennsylvania, but Philly's popping. Philly is in the tri-state area.
Yeah,
They're with New York. They're with New York, Jersey.
And people always say like I got cousins out of town. Oh, you're near Philly. I'm like, Philly is on the completely opposite side of the state.
People be like, hey, I'm in Philly. You in the link? I'm like, girl, I live in Pittsburgh. That is not nowhere near me. That's a whole. You know how much tolls would be to get to you.
Yeah.
And then we're over here, and it's like we by Ohio. So but Ohio's Midwest.
Yeah.
Midwest do not claim Pittsburgh. Midwest probably stop at Cleveland.
Yeah.
Akron, if they're being nice.
Yeah.
So I think that just where we are geographically located, we miss it. You know, like we not close to New York. So we not hearing what's on New York's radio. We not seeing how New York's dressing. We not even in Cleveland. You know what I mean? And Cleveland still is still a little bit. I feel like Cleveland catching up. Us and Cleveland are both we're trying. But Cleveland be on up in us a little bit sometimes. So yeah, I think just geographically, we just have a disadvantage. And so I don't even think it's like an intentional thing where it's like Pittsburgh's just weak. It's like we can't pick up and move, you know what I mean? Like that's just where we are. And so until like the Pittsburgh people, the people who are in charge of gatekeeping Black culture in Pittsburgh, you know, I think it does come down to us. But I think we're doing a good job. I think we can only move so fast, keep our pace for so much. So people like Sam, people like, you know, Camille, people like Nika, people like you know, it take a lot to keep Black culture going. And, you know, we got to have podcasts, we got to talk about stuff. We got to keep that in the media. Facts. And so I think that it is definitely progressive. I wish it was going a little bit faster.
Now, people always let us say this, and I agree to a certain extent, but I'm not going to I don't be on social media saying it 24/7. People love to say, people don't support people in Pittsburgh, or
that is not my testimony.
People don't support you until you get popping or whatever. But to me, I'm rock with the people who rocking with you, and if it's your time, it's your time. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like
exactly.
I'm not gonna be sitting there worrying about the people who don't support me. I'm worried about people who do.
Right? Because why would you focus on that?
Yeah. So do you feel like people always say, like, especially rappers and like people who do music, do you feel like people in Pittsburgh don't support each other enough, such as like Atlanta or something like that?
So that's not been my testimony. Anything I've ever done, Pittsburgh has supported me.
Yeah.
I sold out 500 decks of Black Culture Trivia cards in 2 weeks. Shout out to Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? I'm not saying about the whole 500, but, you know, Pittsburgh really supports, whether it's come out to this event or when I was getting into it with Kev on stage, like Pittsburgh was riding before I even knew they was riding. Like whenever I had finally caught wind of everything, people from Pittsburgh was like, oh, we been caught that on TikTok. We got blocked last week. I'm like, I love y'all. But I think that's the testimony everywhere. Like, I think everybody in every city feel like, oh, my city don't support me. But it's like they do.
I got a question.
They do, yeah.
So, now I don't feel this way, but for somebody who say is trying to get quote unquote popping that are not, they may say, well, you're Chantel, you're Shanny. Of course they gonna support you, but you're popping, but they ain't supporting me. It wouldn't support me. For someone who would feel that way, what would be your response to that?
My response is I haven't always been PopChanny. you know, like I had to get here. I got here with support. So it's like I had to introduce myself to my public. I had to, you know what I mean, do all the things to show up and do all of the things. I didn't just one day wake up and be like, oh, look, Beyonce. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you got to drop an album. You got to drop a mixtape. You got to do a press tour. So I think for that, I think it's just like find your crowd, find your people, find the people who support you. Be yourself. For real. For me, that comes down to it. Be yourself. When you're yourself, you really can't go wrong.
It's a lot of people on social media be all a facade, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, just be authentic. That's my thing.
And I also feel like, you know, what was I about to say? I forgot what I was about to say. When you put out like good content, or good music, whatever you putting out or you're hosting, if it's quality work or material, people will start fucking with you. Black Culture Trivia. So I've been noticing that recently. So what's that all about?
Black Culture Trivia is my other baby. It is, right now it exists as a card game, but it is a whole entire powerhouse. It's Black Culture Trivia. I want it to be the headquarters for Black culture.
Okay.
So
in Pittsburgh or?
I always aspire to be globally.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
That's always my limit. I'll be like, yeah, we could do it here, but then also there's all these other states and cities and people.
Yeah.
So yeah, globally, everywhere. I want to be just, you know, that's what I want to do. But so Black Culture Trivia started off originally as Official Black Facts in 2019. Yeah, 2019. I came back from Arizona. Me and my sister and my brother, we came up with an idea to give people Black facts, but in a fun way. Like we was like, we don't, of course, shout out to Martin Luther King, shout out to the people, but we don't want to keep hearing Martin Luther King was, so-and-so was the first person. It's like, okay, how we still teaching our kids this way?
Yeah.
And for me, I'm a fun learner. So we had decided to send push notifications to people's phones every day with a new Black fact, but it would be like a fun Black fact. It would be something, I didn't know that. I know Beyonce did that. I know her middle name was her first name was really spelled that way type time. So we were doing that for a while. We were building up our Instagram of, just Black facts. We were just giving Black information every day. Fun stuff, good videos, inspiration, motivation. And then when the pandemic happened,
now, did that whole, I was going to ask that, did the pandemic hold any of like the Black Art Expo or the Black Culture Trivia? Did it hold anything back? Did it like impede on anything?
No, not for me. I stopped coming outside before the world shut down.
Oh yeah.
When I was at the Shade Room, my office was Zoom, was Google, Google Hangouts.
Yeah.
My living room was my office in 2015.
Yeah.
By the time the pandemic happened, I'm like, I've been studying for this. I've been practicing. I was in my prime. I was loving the pandemic because I had already adjusted to a pandemic lifestyle. Had already adjusted to working from home and having to figure out how to have a balance of home life and work life. You know what I mean? I had already been doing all of that. So by the time the pandemic hit, I was like, bet we right at midnight. So no, it didn't impede. It actually helped. So there was no Black culture trivia before the pandemic. It was just Black facts. As our social media creative director or whatever, I was telling my brother and my sister, like, what if on Thursdays, again, this was before the pandemic, I was like, what if on Thursdays we did trivia to like quiz them on the things that we told them throughout the week? Yeah. To see if they remember so-and-so was the first person or whatever. So they was like, yeah, that's a good idea. We never did it. The first week, I was like, all right, we give out $50 for lunch. The winner will get $50 for lunch. Boom. Whoever won, I don't even remember who won. Whoever won got their $50 for lunch. And then I was like, well, I guess we do it again next week. Me and Phil was like, all right, we just going to take over programming on the internet. So next week, we came back, Wild Words Wi-Fi, Wednesday, trivia, Thursday. Then I was like, all right, this was fun, but I'm just going to go back to regular content.
Yeah.
So the way that it was happening was in a story. You had multiple choice. It was music. It was a whole production. It was a whole entire production. It was fun. It was just me. And I was like, I can't keep up with Black Art Expo and make these graphics every week and come up with these questions every week. You know what I mean? Like I did have staff and interns, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't really know a lot of delegation at that time. I had to get a business coach and everything because I was like, oh, business is really business, and I got to learn how to be a boss in real life, not just say I'm a boss. Okay. So I stopped for a while, and then the pandemic was still going on for a long time. So in the springtime, when it got nice again outside, two of my favorite poets in the world, Portia O. Leguiola and Crystal Valentine, they had reached out to me to host Black trivia they were having a virtual cookout. It was like a 12-hour day. It was like the whole entire day. They were just having people coming on. You could hop on to play the game. You could hop on to hear poetry. You could hop on and, to hear certain readings. It was a thing. And she was like, hey, and she called it For the Culture Trivia. But at the time, originally it was Black Facts Trivia. So she was like, hey, can you do that for the Culture Trivia, for the cookout, whatever. And I was like, yeah. So I did it again. We had a prize. And I was like, y'all, this is actually really fun. Yeah. I think I want to keep doing this. So we brought it back. We were calling it For the Culture Trivia. But there's already a brand called For the Culture. They have the game for the phone. This one I learned about IP. This one I learned about trademarks and stuff because I was we were in Clubhouse doing For the Culture Trivia night, all the things. The guy who owns For the Culture Trivia expeditiously DM me, please check out our trademark before we have to send you a cease and desist. I was like,
man.
Oh, my bad. I don't want no heat. I don't want no beef. I ain't even know nothing about that. So that's when I started learning about intellectual property and how trademarks work and like all of the protections. So it's like Black Culture Trivia is not dead. It's not going nowhere. It's just right now currently I'm figuring out how to like restabilize things. Like I said, I don't have I have a little bit of inventory left, but all of those need to get sent out to people who are waiting for them. So
you got the Black Art Expo, the Black Culture Trivia. You got a book coming out.
I got Bitcoin Energy. I got 2020 brand.
Oh shit! So I do want to ask you: do you feel like you found and know your purpose?
Yeah, definitely. I asked God to give me my purpose in 2017. I was at the Shade Room and I was like, God, sir, humbly, I know I did not get sent to earth to pay bills and die. This is ghetto. Please tell me what I'm here for. Please tell me what I'm here for. And so a lot of the things that I do, a lot of decisions that I make, people always look at me like I'm crazy, but I'm like, I don't care. Like, I ain't making me disobedient to God. He had answered my prayer. And so yeah, I think that I don't ever stress when things aren't looking linear, how people want them to look, because sometimes when God gives you an assignment and puts something on your heart or gives you a purpose, it's going, look how God wanted to look. Forget the public. Mm-hmm. Y'all not paying my bills. You know what I mean? Y'all not in charge of my soul. So yeah, I definitely think that God placed on my heart. Well, my purpose was years ago, and I've just been like, all right, well, I'm gonna do that. I'm a little hard-headed, but I'm gonna do it. Yeah. I'm a little stubborn, but I'm gonna do it.
And then, so your book, is there anything you can like touch on that, like what it's about? Yeah. When's it coming out?
Yeah, so I have 2 books. The first book I started writing, like I said, in 2017 when I was like, gosh, show me my purpose. Yeah. It's been both of my books so far about healing, breaking generational cycles, breaking generational trauma, and all of those things. So my first book is called The Broken Cycle, an open letter to generational cycle breakers. It was originally titled Women Who Are Healing from Their Mother's Traumas, because I was in a space in life where I realized that I was healing from trauma that was not my trauma. It was generations of trauma. But I mean, I think that's everybody. It wasn't just me. It's not like I'm the only person. I think that's everybody. I was someone who was not afraid to say, this is where I'm at on my journey. And so it's content heavy, I think, for me, because it's my life. It's not like a tell-all book. It's not a this person is a bad person book. It's just my experience. So for a long time, like my scribe coach, my editors, everyone's like, we got to put it out. And I'm like, y'all got to wait. It's not time. I can't write a book about healing if I haven't healed all the way. I'm still healing. Yeah. And so Bag Lady is the new book. That is an anthology of poems. And then on the other side, it's affirmations. And so I decided to drop Bag Lady before dropping my open letter because of context and all of the things. So like I said, it's an anthology. I have an opening poem called Bag Lady. It's my favorite poem in the world. It's the poem I've been performing. I've never been a performer. I've always been like curating the shows for people to come and perform at. But as of recent, I am a performer as well. So Bag Lady, like I said, is the opener to the production. And it is a production. It's not just a regular book. Because, of course, I don't even know how to do anything regular. But I was in a space of, like, I only have this many poems and I only have this many this. And I don't want to add more poems just to fill to make it a book. So it's called Bag Lady, after Erykah Badu's Bag Lady. That was the inspiration. That was one of my favorite songs growing up. I love Erykah Badu. I'm an artist and I'm also sensitive about my shit. Mad relatable. But I wanted the book to be side A and side B, kind of like a tape or a record, because I love music. Yeah. And so when I was coming out,
with side A, side B.
Yeah, you remember those days? Flip it up, rewind, do all of the things.
Y'all miss having stereos and stuff like that. Oh man,
shoot! I still got a stereo. I still got a record player. I still have a cassette player with
real?
The headphones.
I don't miss my Walkman. But
I definitely miss my Walkman.
I miss like having my MP3 player, my iPods. I miss that era too. So, yeah, going to the library, downloading music and stuff.
Right, an era. Yeah. I do not miss LimeWire. I do miss having free music, because paying for Apple Music every month is ghetto. Yeah. I'm like, there was a time I could just.
I'm a Spotify person, you know.
I'm not a Spotify person.
I like Spotify.
I don't know how to be a Spotify person.
Spotify got everything for real though. Like songs from mixtapes, albums, all that. But now, as far as your book, where could they find that at?
So it is not actually. You just got a exclusive, because I wasn't announcing I had a book coming out till April 25th. But you heard it here first
on Straight Facts.
On Straight Facts, this is an exclusive. I did have a book dropping on the in July. The date is still being decided on in July, but no, it's not available anywhere yet. We're still in production. We're still, figuring out all of the things. I'm very excited about it, though. Like I said, it's not a regular book. So like I said, side A, side B, and I was deciding, like, I'm not going to be able to fill a whole book. I don't want it to be a little pamphlet. Right. So I made it a pamphlet. Because I went with my first man. I was like, all right, well, okay, so the theme of it was love and hip hop and R&B, because all of the poems were inspired by the names of songs, whatever, if that makes sense. So I'm like, all right, I can make the table of contents, the track list, all of the things. I was like, well, what's small enough to be not big enough? And I was like, the booklets that come inside of CDs. You remember them? Yeah. I used to have the thank yous and the art and the lyrics and stuff.
Yep, yeah.
So I've decided to.
I missed that.
Me too. And of course, since it's going to be a CD case, it's going to be a CD in it. I know people don't have CD players anymore, but I don't care. It's nostalgic.
Yeah.
So, and the CD will actually be like the audio version of the book with the QR code, of course, so people could go on Spotify and hear it audibly. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. July, but I'm not announcing it until April officially. So
okay.
But you still heard it here first on Straight Facts.
Straight Facts Podcast. So, what is next for Chantel? Shanny, P.O.P.
For real, I want to take my art more serious. I'm a painter, and I've been painting literally since I could pick up a paintbrush.
Pablo Picasso.
You know, it's a Picasso. Shoot, I'm changing the narrative. It's a Melissa Mitchell. It's a Rionye James. It's a Madame Hughes. But yeah, I want to get more into my art. Like I've been painting. Like I said, I've always been a painter. But I put it on the internet. When I started painting in real life, I started painting as a mental health hack. Like I didn't even know what seasonal depression was. This was in 2017. And I was experiencing seasonal depression like nobody's business. I didn't know what was happening. Like I was crying. Like every day I was sad. And I was like, this ain't me. I'm happy. I'm cheerful. I'm bright. And I remember telling my dad, and I was telling him like, I've been sad and I think I need to paint. Like my body wants to paint. Like that's how I want to express whatever. And he was like, all right, whatever. Like, cause I wanted him to buy my stuff. I was a grown up, but I was like, could you buy me some paint stuff, please? So I ended up getting it.
You ain't go paint with a twist?
This was before painting with a twist. I want to say was a thing. Like I just wanted to sit in my room with my weed, with my music and paint. I don't want to get dressed. You know, I just wanted to chill and like just chill. So it was very calming to just sit on my floor, smoke and paint. Yeah. I didn't. It wasn't. And that's why I really never did commissions because it was just I just want to paint what I want to paint. I don't want nobody to tell me what to do. I don't want it to be like make this a little smaller. It's my art. It's my paint. And I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. When you can ask somebody else to do it. So I've been painting as like a stress reliever or just as a creative outlet. It's not always stress. Sometimes I'm happy. Sometimes I'm inspired. But my art has been more, just more popular for me than it has in the past. And so yeah, I think that I'm gonna take that more serious. Like I said, poetry, huh?
I see you also said you're leaving Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm leaving Pittsburgh. I'm going back to Atlanta to continue all of the things. Like when I first went to Atlanta for the third time, I went to Atlanta for the first time again in October. And my point in that was to put myself on a residency. I had applied for a residency to do my art because I'm trying to take my art serious. Yeah. And I got denied because of a conflict of interest. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. When the conflict of interest was no longer a conflict or interest, they wanted me to still come and apply. But I was like, at that point, no. I want to go and do it. So I was like, I'll put myself on residency. I'm smart. I'll create my own. I know the areas in artistry and entrepreneurship that I need to expand and need to learn and need to grow on. So I was like, I make my own curriculum. I make curriculum for a living. Like, put myself on curriculum. So I'm want to just continue my endeavors. Like being in Atlanta and networking is so different than being in Pittsburgh and networking. And that's not shade. It's just
facts. That's what it is.
You know what I mean? It's just also proximity. There's more black people there. It's like I got a black culture trivia. Let me tell you, people keep saying, when you gonna do Black Culture Trivia live in Pittsburgh? Like I didn't do a whole tour last summer and had 5 people come. I do Black Culture Trivia in Atlanta, sold out. Yeah, sold out. And that's why I'm not doing another event here. It's like it's not shade. It's not like
it's just the truth.
Yeah, it's like Pittsburgh will be like, oh, let's do it, and I'll do it. And 3 people, and it was I did one at Eon, I did one at Highside, I did one at the nail salon. I went everywhere that black people be.
She did one at Lefties.
Before Lefties left. Lefties left.
Lefties is back.
Where they at?
In the strip.
No, they back for real?
Yeah, I was just there.
Came back. Like this weekend?
Well, I was there the weekend before, but Lefties is back.
Oh, I ain't know that.
Yeah, they back. Cause I was waiting because, like, man, that's my spot.
I ain't know that. But yeah, so I went to Atlanta, and my thing with leaving Pittsburgh because I don't want to be one of the people that's like, I love Pittsburgh and then forget Pittsburgh. No. I want to leave Pittsburgh and get more resources to bring back to Pittsburgh. So I said we're in a weird space geographically. Unless somebody bring that back, how anybody going to see it?
Right.
And especially people leaving and staying gone and not claiming the city no more. I'm like, I'm gonna go meet some people so we can have summer jam. Y'all don't want to have summer jam?
Swear,
I want to have summer jam. Spring fling. I want to have a spring fling. Like I want to do the things beyond just, see less people coming. saying? Like, I want Beyonce to come for real,
Yeah.
for real. Like, I want her to actually be like, I'm really going to hope. I wanted an apology. Beyonce ain't even tell us story. It's like, no, I don't know if Beyonce told a story or not. But I'm saying all that to say, I enjoy being able to leave and learn new things and bring those things back. You know, bring those resources back. Sometimes it's even just like, y'all learn this in networking. This is how I did it in Atlanta. This is how they do it in Atlanta, and it's working.
Yeah.
Like, this is boom, 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 boom. I learned so many things just by getting invited to events in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like, oh, Lotto having a party, so and so and so. I'm like, I would have never thought to promote this like this type time. And I'm like, but thanks, Lotto, and thanks, you know, B, or thanks, Taya, whoever invited me, because now when people are asking me, like, well, how can I promote my event? I'm not giving y'all what I used in Pittsburgh in 2017 when I was on events. This is what they doing in Atlanta, and I think it might work type time. So yeah, I'm gonna go down there and continue to just grow my brands and meet more people.
As you should.
Do the things like network, put myself in rooms. That's my thing. I always just put myself in rooms I want to be in. That's how Division League got popping. That's how I do all the things I want to do. I'm like, oh, there's a room. I'm supposed to be in that room. There's a security guard at the door, but I'm still going to get in that room.
You got the book coming out. It was announced first on Straight Facts. All these great endeavors. I definitely wish you well in Atlanta. I already know you're going, run things because you're the marathon woman. You run shit.
Thank you. Humbly.
And,
appreciate it.
Yeah. And definitely like, comment, subscribe, and definitely check out Black Art Expo, Black Culture Trivia. Stay on the lookout for her book too. And we out.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been real. I appreciate it. I'll catch up with y'all next time. Find me on Instagram @_POPChanny, @Black Art Expo, @Black Culture Trivia. No underscores, no dots, no officials, just @Black Art Expo, @Black Culture Trivia. It's been real. Thanks for having me. Peace out.